What's up, guys? It's been a minute, like about a month or a month and a half, 2 months. But welcome to this video. We're gonna be going over REDIS, which is a tracheotomy room that focuses mostly on a lot of enumeration, some local port forwarding, which I thought was super interesting and what intrigued me in the first place. So we can hop right into it. We copied the IP and we have already placed it in Etsy host, and I have the nmap scan here for you guys already ready so that you don't have to wait for it to load. So we have our basic ports, SSH, we have RPC bind, we have mount D, we have RSYNC, SMB, and then some ports that we're not really familiar with. So if we wanted to check SSH, we can check if there's anonymous login. Let's copy the IP real quick. Paste. Let's click yes, and then let's type in anonymous. Enter. Okay. So it looks like we do not have that. Next, if you guys, by the way, if you guys see me looking at the right, it's because I am looking over my notes. Let's just go with a simple, not simple, but our SMB enumeration, since it's a port, a service that we're kind of, for the most part familiar with. So we can start up, for Linux, tag A, and then we can do internal tracheotomy. While that's running, we can run SMB map with the host, internal tracheotomy. We're gonna do user root and then tag R. Let's provide our password. Okay, this is still running. Seems all good. So it looks like we're not able to map or list anything in the print share. We are allowed mapping and listing on the shares share, and nothing on the IPC share. So it looks like we're only able to access the shares shared. And just how SMB map tells us, there's 2 directories in this share, temp and data, and each are filled with their own files. So in order to fetch these files, let's use SMB get tag R remote SMB. Let's do this internal tracheotomy, and then let's specify the shared password. We were able to list that and map it with no authentication. We didn't need no user or password, so we do not need a password in order to download these files. Interesting. So if we go into temp, we can cat services, and that is our first flag here on services flag. And then what was the other? Data, we can cat data, and then we can cat, what is it? I am lost. Oh, business. Purge regulated data is not needed anymore. Okay, we just wanted to remind you that we're waiting for the document you're going to send us so we can complete the transaction we discussed. Nothing too interesting. Okay, so now SSH and SMB is enumerated for the most part. We can go kind of into researching the version numbers, but for now, since SSH is for the most part secure and we have some ports we haven't checked out, we're not going to get really into that. Let's check our port RPC bind and mount D specifically. So we're going to do show mount tag P and provide the IP, and it'll show us okay, so we have the opt conf share, and we obviously want to download this, so we're gonna make their NFS, and I'm just going to copy, never mind, I'll just type it in NFS. Let's do this / where is it, opt-conf, and then we are going to do pwd vid /nfs It's T, not F. Let's fix this. What am I doing? /T. Okay. So we might have to do this. And that should work. Okay, so now let's cd into the NFS share. And it looks like we have a bunch of directories here and with files inside of them. So a neat trick that I personally learned recently was you can use grep with the R flag to kind of look for words that start with whatever phrase you input, right? I put in pass, and it'll go into each directory and file and check for this pass, whatever word starts with pass. So here it shows that we have a password here. If the master password protected, use this password, right? So we can kind of put that in Sublime. Well, we can delete this. So we have this pass. That's when I was doing the room. This is the password. And we can also do it for user, just in case there's some users that we need to be aware of. Nothing too interesting. And yeah, grep is really good. It saves you a lot of time instead of like, you know, going into each file and looking at and reading everything. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Now we have a password for what was it, REDIS, right? And if we want to do some enumeration, we can use REDIS CLI. Is a terminal program used to send commands to the REDIS server. We can use nmap also, but yeah, what's it called? Hacktricks recommends REDIS CLI, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to, let me see, give me a second, I have to scroll. We are going to do REDIS CLI and I think we just put the host. Yeah. Internal track me, and let's authenticate with the password we just acquired. Let's copy this real quick. And we should have a shell here. Yeah, there we go. So now we can do server or info, right? And we get a bunch of info. And most importantly, give me a second. So Hacktricks tells us, so yeah, we can authenticate here, that we should be to dump inside the Redis database. There are numbers starting from 0. You can find if anyone is used in the output of the command info using the key space chunk. In the example, the database 0 and 1 are being used. Database 0 contains 4 keys, and when database 1 contains 1. Default Redis will use database 0. In order to dump, for example, database 1, you need to do select keys get. Okay. So looking through this information, we find that there are 5 keys. And in order to list these keys, we can do just how it told us here. Keys in the apostrophe. And we see that we have auth list, marker list, temp, int, and internal flag. Now if we type internal flag, do I have to we get a string? Okay, I think we do get internal flag, and that's the flag right there. So let's do keys again with the apostrophe, and let's get auth list. Did I spell that? Type auth list, and we have a list here. And in order to let me see. Okay, so in order to list everything here, it says L range key start stop. I had to go through some Redis documents. It said Returns the specified elements of the list stored at the key. The offset starts and stops at 0 based indexes, with 0 being the first element of the list, the head of the list, 1 being the next element, and so on. So we are going to use lrange on this list and try to get whatever's in it. So we are going to do lrange. What is it? Auth list, because this is where the list is at, auth list. And then we are going to do 1. It said it starts at 1. And then we can do 1. And if we wanted to check if there was more here, we can do 100. It looks like there's only 3, and we can do 10,000. Yeah, it looks like there's only 3. So it looks like we got a base 64 string that we can use echo to decipher real quick. So we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do base 64 tag D for decode, and then it looks like we have a RSYNC password. So let's copy that into our notes. RSYNC password. There we go. And now we should be able to enumerate RSYNC via RSYNC connect. What was it? At internal dot drag me. There we go. And it looks like we have a files in here. So now let's add that here. And we have the password already copied, this password, and we have sysinternal. So let's access sysinternal, provide the password. Oops. And then look, we're in. We have a bunch of files, including our user text. So this is the third flag, our user text here. We can just use our user text, provide the password, and that should download it. LFNFS, and it looks like we should read only. Okay, it's read only, it's fine. So anyways, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We are going to exit out of this and then do this. Now that should work properly, and we have the user text here, and that's looking good. So another thing that's interesting that we noted pretty quickly. I am so sorry about this noise. Let me close the window a little bit. So we have read, write, and we have 777 on the SSH directory, right? So something that's been done before, well, I have experience with doing, is uploading your SSH key and being able to access it, right? If you have a way to upload it, you can log in and access it. Let me just close the window. Give me 1 second. That should be way better. So with this being said, we are going to ls and pwd so that we know what directory we're on, and we're gonna do Ssh Keygen, and let's save it to this directory /id on what is it, RSA, no passphrase. Let's add no password, and we have our public and private key here. So now in order to upload this, we are going to do rsync rdrsa. We're gonna go .ssh, and we're gonna add it to our authorized keys, right? Now we want to provide the password. Give me a second. Dot pub. Let's copy this. Okay. And in order to SSH, we're going to log in into internal, well, sysinternal, because this is his, at internal.tryhackme. And give me a second. Yeah, we have to provide our key, and who am I? ID. We are sysinternal. So we are sysinternal. Now we need to escalate our privileges. Now, in order to do this, we are enumerating and looking at all the files. And as I'm looking, I noticed that there is a very unfamiliar directory, which is called Team City. And if we look into Team City, just by looking at all of them, right? You want to look at all of them. So where was it? I think it was in bin. Yeah. So there's a Catalina. Give me a second. Out file. CT and then locate Catalina out. Oh, and it's in logs. So if we look at the Catalina out, we see a bunch of gibberish. But something, if you quickly look through it, you get to see something unfamiliar, something strange, right? We get a super user authentication token. And this makes no sense, but then we see that Team City initialized server UID URL localhost at port 811. So now we notice, okay, there's might be something running at port 811. Let's check if we are correct. So we can do SSTNO, and there is something running on port 811, right? Established connection. So if we want to access this specific port, right, and not just the whole internal in network, we want to access this port via SSH, the connection we already had. So what we're going to do is SSH again, but this time we're going to use the L option. Tag H. Wait, is it help? Okay, so the address is going to be 811 at our local port, IP, and then we want to access 811. Well, we want to, okay. So now we should be able to access this via this IP and port. Let's open this right here. Whoa. We don't need these passwords anymore. Well, we kind of need that token because let's just copy this here. No. It says that use empty username with a token as the password to access the server. Okay, so we can log in as super user. We can provide this token here. What is this? Team City, and we are logged in. So interesting. Now From here, we want to create a project, and we will, let me see, was it manually or from a repository? I think it was just here, nleak, project ID, description, let me in. Now we are going to, let me see, general options. I think we're going to create a build configuration. And we are going to we can skip this. Build steps, add build steps. We are going to go to command line, and we are going to do step name. We can just name that sudoers how I did before, and we're just going to echo ourselves. We're going to echo our sysinternals, and we're going to give ourselves the permission. We're going to give ourselves our sudoers permission, so we're able to elevate our privileges without providing a password. So we are going to do this. So we're going to echo sysinternal in and give him all permissions with no password, and we're going to add him into our suitors. So that is going to be saved, and we can click run. Okay, so that was queued, and we are here. We can just do swipe up, password. Give me a second. How did we do this? I think we do sudo swipe up, and we are root. Okay, so let me, what if I exit this?